Okay.
Do an intro. Do an intro.
Okay, so welcome guys again to our 5 million subscribers to another video. Uh this is Boo and this is my beautiful co-host Ia, and this is the creepypasta we're reading today. I'm reading today.
Wow.
I don't know what that loser is gonna read, but
Okay,
I'm gonna read this one.
we're reading "He Comes" by Zalgo, right?
Yes.
Or is it
Yes,
by?
written.
No, it's not Zalgo.
It is Zalgo.
No, no, no. The author.
Oh, it's Chris Phonics.
You're fucking everything up. Poor guy.
Shut up. Good. You know what? We just pronounced Zalgo correctly, so I think that's fair. Anyway, I'm gonna start
Oh
right now.
my
So,
god, the audio
what?
just fucking exploded.
That's because we're reading like ancient cursed text.
I
We're
don't.
not supposed to be. We're not supposed to be reading this. This is why it's like weird.
Oh my god, it's also 3 a.m.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Okay, I'm starting. Shut
Okay.
up. Forgive the length of this message. This is the first and possibly the last time I'll have access to a computer, so I thought I'd better write this all down while I can, and get it to those who should know. I'm leaving town. I don't know where I'm going. I'm just getting as far as I can. Okay, so as some of you may know, I took out a loan and opened up my own auto shop a little over a year ago. Business has been doing decently well, and I can't complain, and I've always been grateful to all of my customers who would come to me exclusively when God knows there are so many already established places in town. I've been doing well enough that I was able to hire on my buddy Neil a few months ago, and he's been working hard and helping out really well, as I always knew he would. Well, I needed to take a day and go to a Lamazé class with Rebecca
What
last
the
month.
fuck is a Lamazé class? Do you know
Well,
what that is?
it's I don't know, but it's probably related to auto cars.
I never heard of a Lamazé before. Wait, let me Google that. I'm actually curious.
I also don't drive, period. I'm scared of cars. So,
Did a car hit you?
who knows? You tell me, you're the alive one. You're still living, and I'm
Oh,
not.
oh, a
What is that?
Lamazé is for like childbirth educator class thingy. It's
Oh, no wonder I don't know. I'm okay. Never mind that. Well, I needed I needed to take a day and
oh.
shut up and go to a Lamazé class with Rebecca last month. And so I entrusted the shop to Neil for the morning and most of the afternoon. That's the day I think everything actually started, because when I got back, he seemed to be in a stupor and was covered in oil. He'd even had some smeared across his face as if he'd tried to drink it or something. I told him to go home and clean himself up because we had no clients at the moment, and I could take care of anyone who came in for the time being. He came back 45 minutes later, but he was still much quieter than usual. He worked as well as he ever did, but something just seemed off about him. I asked if anything happened while I was out, and he just shook his head. I asked how many clients we had, and he just muttered something unintelligible. I asked him to repeat himself, and he turned and glared at me, and for the briefest moment I could have sworn his eyes appeared to be completely black. No iris, no sclera, just utter all-consuming blackness. I stumbled back and bumped the shelf, knocking things down. When I looked back at him, he was still looking at me, but he didn't seem to be glaring hatefully the way he did before. He just seemed kind of out of it. "Just a couple," he answered. "Some woman, and then a tattooed biker type looking dude. I assumed one of them must have asked for an oil change, and that's when he spilled it. So I asked if he had any trouble, and he simply shrugged. I had looked around the garage while he was gone and I saw no traces of an oil spill, so whatever had happened he must have gotten it all on himself and none of it anywhere else, miraculously. But he seemed reluctant to talk about it, so I didn't press the issue, and we worked on throughout the day. That day and the next were relatively normal, other than he still being awkward and quiet. I asked him if he'd be like to go out and get us lunch while I tended to shop, and he said sure. When he came back, I was busy doing a diagnostic for a client, so he put the food on the counter in the office to wait for me, and he went ahead and ate. I finished up with that customer. We'd have to keep her car overnight to figure out just why it kept dying on her. So I asked Neil to give her a ride home, and then I went to grab my food. He'd brought me some Chinese food and an iced tea. So I opened the soy sauce packets to pour some over my food when I noticed the strangest thing. It was as if the soy sauce was a living thing somehow, spreading out like dozens of squirming, inky black maggots when it fell on into the fried rice and burying itself inside. I took the fork and started to scoop out the rice to look deeper inside, and a small smoky tendrils would rise from the rice occasionally and dissipate. I was incredibly hungry at that point, but I was too creeped out to eat that, so I chucked it and the iced tea in the garbage, and decided I'd just wait till I got home that evening to eat something I'd prepared with my own hands. I'd never in my life seen anything remotely like that, and I couldn't even fathom how I could ask Neil if he'd noticed something similar. As cold and distant as he'd been lately, I was sure he'd look at me like I was Looney Tunes, so I just shut up about it. That Friday we went down to the old watering hole, as we always do, to get some drinks and watch the local bands play. And Neil was just as quiet and distant as he'd been all week. He's not a bad looking fellow, though, and so despite him not really going out of his way to speak to anyone, a woman went over to where he was sitting and started talking to him, and they ended up leaving together that night. Monday morning I tried breaking the ice by asking how his weekend went. He gave me a nod and muttered, "All right." I asked him if he got lucky with that young woman I saw him with, and he gave me the smallest grin, which was quite possibly the first grin I'd seen on his face in a week, and said, "It went well." I didn't pressure him for details. I needed to share if he chose to. And his small grin was enough to assure my worries and lend me some hope that he might get back to his old self soon. The day was relatively busy until about 3 p.m., so I finally had a spare moment to sit in the office and listen to the radio while I waited on the next client. So there I was, leaning back in my chair with my feet propped up on my desk, when I swiveled around and looked at my bulletin board that sits behind my head with all manner of clippings stuck to it. I had a few Sunday comic strips such as Garfield and Calvin and Hobbes that I'd read maybe 100 times since I'd opened the shop there, but that day something was different. The first panel seemed normal, but each subsequent panel, inky black tendrils crept out from the edges of the frame and from behind the characters. Blood dripped from the ears and the eyes, and sometimes even their noses. And in each strip, one of the characters would say, "He comes."
Oh god, where? Where?
On your face.
Oh no. He comes with hyper realistic blood all over him.
Oh god,
Oh
not the hyper
god.
realistic blood.
Oh god.
I sat staring in astonishment moments before I realized the tendrils were moving ever so slowly,
Hmm.
and then each of the characters' head turned ever so slowly towards me, and I threw myself back away from the bulletin board, sliding over my desk and onto the floor. I ran out into the garage and yelled for Neil. I could not be the only one to see this. To my surprise, he had gone, and so I hesitantly walked back to the office and peered inside. The comics were still corrupted, but they no longer appeared to be moving. I crept over to it and reached out to pluck one of the comics free when I noticed the inky black tendrils starting to seep across the page towards where my fingers were at least 3 times as fast as they'd moved before, and I jerked my hand away. Nothing good could possibly come from letting that blot of ink touch my skin. I would just like burn the page.
I would just not go back. I
How
mean,
do you're supposed to earn food and like I don't know money for Cadence or whoever for the Lamante classes.
are they called the Monte classes? Anyway, I forgot. The thing is, why would you? I don't know. I will feel so paranoid if this is like the second time this is happening. The first time he was eating, he saw those fucking tendrils. You're hungry, and all of a sudden the fucking comic comes to life, and you're like, oh, I
I'm
guess
just
I'll fucking go back to my shift.
I guess I would assume there's something wrong, like a gas leakage or something, cause
Dude, yeah.
or some sort of larva is infesting the place.
I mean,
So I would just like call professionals.
I would straight up assume that I'm losing my fucking mind. Yeah,
Yeah,
because at that point, the food, I'm gonna be honest, the food is too much for me. I would not be able to throw it away. I would just eat
I
it.
f- I feel like insect hallucinations are common enough that I would be like, okay, something's wrong with me, and I need
Yeah.
to like get the place checked out, and then myself.
You're more
Anyway,
reasonable than me. I would just brush it away and just eat the food.
you would eat the food?
Dude, I'm hungry. My wife is pregnant. I can't afford to like, I don't know, cause more trouble. I would just suck it up and eat the food if it's a hallucination.
How are you more alive than I am?
Uh, I'm
Okay,
hungry.
well, okay. Of course, I ripped the entire bulletin board down, burned it in a tin trash can out back, and see, he did it, and never spoke of it again. That night I went home and my wife was already in bed, fast asleep. My mind was racing and I couldn't even bring myself to eat dinner that night. With no one to vent my worries to, I fell into a restless sleep and kept awakening to a nightmare after nightmare seemingly every hour of the night until I just gave up on sleep entirely. That Friday I went to the bar again, even though my wife couldn't drink, being pregnant and all, and Neil wasn't really any fun to hang out with anymore. And none of my other friends could seem to be reached. I just needed to get a good buzz and I'd start to feel better, I reckoned. After downing a couple beers, I excused myself to the restroom when I noticed I was more inebriated than I'd esteemed. So I leaned over to the sink to splash some water onto my face, and that's when I heard it, like a sheet of fabric being dragged across the floor. A voice rasped over so quietly from the drain. It sounded like a prolonged exhale for the longest time until I finally recognized words hidden amongst all those vowels. He comes.
Sorry, that's so unserious.
I cannot sound like I imagine it sounds like a grandpa's like old like last farts or something, but
Last
I can't.
fart?
Yeah, it would be like all in his guts, like as old as he is.
Dude, I can't take this that seriously. Like, why is I don't know, like something speaking to you and it's saying he comes, it's just so unserious. It just
Well,
takes me
yeah,
out.
I would just assume like where is he coming?
Yeah, literally. That's what I'm saying. Also, who is he? Who does he think he
It's
is?
he. It's he. God.
Oh.
God, Ia, you don't know
Oh.
anything.
Oh.
God. Don't whine. It gets me hard.
What the fuck?
Okay,
God.
cracks appeared in the porcelain,
You can't just brush over that.
snaking out from the ring around the drain. At least they looked like cracks at first, but after a few seconds I recognized them as the same tendrils of corruption I'd seen in the comics earlier that week, snaking their way slowly along. I stumbled backwards out of the bedroom and right into someone's chest.
Oh.
I turned around I turned around and stared up to the pitch black eyes of a 6.5 foot
Oh.
biker with tattoos covering every piece
Wait,
of
wait.
exposed skin. Beside his hands and head, this is turning out to be like a boys' love story. I went crazy and like ended up hooking up with the first guy I saw after getting out of the toilet or
He would
something.
be evil then. The wife? Oh my god, NTR cock porn. Here he comes.
God, we're gonna get banned for saying all that. None of those words are allowed.
We can't say that? Oh no.
No, no, I'm just joking. Maybe it is. I don't know.
I'll
I
just
it's
censor
YouTube.
myself.
Who who no, it's the best part of the stream.
What the fuck? Keep reading.
Okay, I stumbled quickly away from him, and his evil,
Uh,
piercing gaze follows me as I retreated through the bar. It felt like a dream where
oh yeah.
whenever you're running for your life, it feels like running through quicksand. As I walked across the room, I noticed the biker wasn't the only one staring at me. It seemed every pair of eyes in the place were focused on me, and more than half of those eyes appeared to be perfectly black, with no hint of iris or sclera. A few lips moved, and though I couldn't hear their voices over the sound of the jukebox, I could easily guess what they were saying. He
He comes.
comes. I didn't get a wink of sleep that night. I haven't been getting much sleep for the past couple of weeks, as a matter of fact, which I'm guessing those of you who've spoken to me recently could have guessed. I keep seeing these pitch black eyes staring at me. I'm afraid everyone I will see will turn and whisper those words to me, staring deep into my soul with that evil glare. Every time I near a sink or go to grab a bite to eat, I'm afraid I'll see those inky sneaking tendrils squiggling towards me. Even my wife has seemed cold and distant lately.
No shit, you're losing your mind. She's like, I'm fucking 8 months pregnant. I can't deal with this man's bullshit. God.
Maybe it's the worms. It's the worms that are making it seem like everyone's distant. Meanwhile, everyone's like, "Hey man, what's going on?" And this guy out loud is like, "Whatever, it's fine."
It's that one
And in
fucking picture. Everyone hated me.
he it's making him think that way. I bet
Hmm.
Neil also felt that the protagonist was being mean to him or like being distant towards them,
There's
when in
also
fact he wasn't.
there's also the second option where everyone is actually infected and he's the only sane one.
Oh.
Ooh.
Ooh. Then tonight, as I'm driving home from work, struggling to keep my eyes open so that I don't drift into oncoming traffic, my cell phone rang and it was Rebecca. She was on her way to the hospital to have our baby, and for the first time in 2 weeks, I was actually happy.
What should be
She
the
wasn't.
fucking ink baby?
Oh god. The whole story is about him getting anti-art by the fucking demon.
Maybe that's the biggest horror of all.
Maybe. Oh, she's about to give birth to the demon. That's why they keep saying he comes
Oh
as the
my god.
delivery time comes.
It's about Antichrist. I'm kind of dumb. Okay, I see it now. Does that
She
mean
wasn't
he's the
a.
devil? Sorry.
I don't know much about Antichrist. I guess it's like the opposite of Jesus. Like he's about to come in and preach like hate.
That's such a funny thing you said. I don't know much about Antichrist. I guess he's not like Christ. Hmm.
Exactly. It's like his evil twin.
Oh my god. Who would have thought?
She was in the labor room, strapped to a monitor when I got there, watching for the contractions. She barely noticed when I walked in, but didn't seem startled when I sat down beside her and took her hand in mine. I tried talking to her, but she was unresponsive, And I was so tired I didn't even realize I had started to drift off to sleep until the nurses came in and started moving her to the delivery room about half an hour later. I put on my scrubs and a hairnet and went in with her to hold her hand and coach her through like they'd trained us in Lamaze when she started cursing and screaming. I was prepared for that, as well as her ever tightening grip on my hand. But when I saw the movement in her tummy, my mind started to reel. The doctor said the baby was crowning and told her to push. I echoed his orders and she screamed at me with a voice I couldn't even begin to describe. When I looked down at her, she was staring up at me with those eyes I'd seen on the biker. The same eyes I thought I'd seen on Neil weeks before. I tried to jerk my hand away, but she maintained her grip. Black tar like blood splashed the front of the doctor's scrubs, but he seemed to pay it no heed. When I looked at her tummy again, black veins seemed to stand out beneath her skin, pulsating. She continued to stare at me, and she was no longer screaming, just grinning, those obsidian eyes boring into me. To invoke the Nesperdian hive minds of chaos, she breathed in a raspy voice. He who waits behind the wall, the doctor continued as he stared down at the child, my child, lying silently, cradled in his blood-stained hands. He looked up and raised the baby, and it appeared to be covered in oozing inky black liquid, much like that he had covered Neil a couple weeks prior. It did not cry out, but it was alive, and it moved when he held it up. When its eyes opened, they were as black as my wife's, as black as the doctor's. In an instant they all breathed out his name.
Zalgo.
Zalgo.
Hell
I
no.
read.
Sorry. Who decided my baby's name? Who decided that?
Why
Who
are
do
you
you
mad
think you
about
are?
that? Um, to be
No.
fair,
That's
to
my
be
baby.
fair,
Yeah.
to be fa- to be fair, Zalka is probably the best name you could have come up with. Like that's
Bitch,
very
fuck
unique.
no. If you're going to be birthing the Antichrist, at least have it be something cool. That bitch is gonna get fucking
Okay, well, what's cooler
bullied.
than Zalgo? What's cooler than Zalgo? Also, who's gonna bully the Antichrist?
I would.
The bitch before it started to be like before it like got out of the womb, it's already had worms crawling all over the place.
That's not the baby's fault.
Well, I would assume it's the baby's fault.
What if the baby's like joyous, but everything is like crazy
Oh
around the
yeah,
baby?
oh yeah. Instead of crying the first time it like gets out of the womb, it opens its eyes and makes everyone chant its name. And it's not, it's unfazed as fuck. Like,
I mean, it's a
this is
baby. What is it supposed to do? It's not a nonchalant baby is funny though.
it's a very stoic ass baby.
Prehistoric baby named Zago. Oh my god. Sorry, Zago is such a silly name.
It's not, it's cool. Fuck
It's
you.
not cool. Is
I
your name
shut
Zago or something? Is that your baby boy's name?
No.
Why are you so defensive over the name Zago?
Listen, it's a cool name, and I'm gonna defend the truth I believe in till the very end.
My god. Imagine the first day at school. Hello everyone. Say hi to Michelle, Jake, and Zalgo.
N- See, you're assuming this child would be introduced in a very normal way. It would be like this. Like he would step into the classroom and everyone would start to go like the doctor and the wife and be like, he who waits behind the wall. Everyone rises up to greet him and they all yell out, the whole school, in despite not being in his class, they all yell out, the whole country, Zalgo.
Zalgo. He who is
Exactly.
bullied.
No, he is not bullied. Fuck off. I ripped my hand free from my wife's iron grip and stumbled out of the room, barreling into the nurses passing in the corridor just aside. When I stood up and looked back into the room, I could see the inky black tendril seemed to extend from the doctor and my newborn, across the floor to where I stood. I turned and ran down the hall to the elevator and slammed my finger into the buttons. When I looked back, the tendrils had come in the hallway, yet no one else seemed to notice until it slithered over their feet and up their legs, at which point they abruptly stopped and turned to look at me with those same obsidian eyes.
Oh god.
I abandoned my effort to call the elevator and broke into a panicked run for the stairs. I ran down the 15 flights of stairs. Holy shit,
Wow.
this hospital is big as fuck. Flights of stairs all the way down to the lobby, tore ass out into the parking lot, and hopped into my car and started driving. I didn't know where the fuck I was going. I just knew I just had to get the fuck out of there. I don't know if I'm going crazy. It certainly seemed like it. But I just can't be around anyone I know anymore. They all have those same eyes and those same dead stares, and even my child. Oh my god, my baby. I still saw those eyes staring at me from the cars beside me, and by some strange coincidence, the same biker from the previous Friday night at the bar pulled up beside me an hour away from the hospital and
Mm.
followed me for nearly 2 miles. He turned and stared at me, grinning. I couldn't see his eyes through his sunglasses this time, but I knew it was the same guy. His tattoos seemed to move out of their own free will. The flaming skull on his right bicep began bleeding from his eye sockets. As soon as I could, I slammed on my brakes, allowing him to fly past me as I swerved to my left and did a U-turn. I think I lost him. That was about an hour ago. I'm at a hotel 3 hours out of town, the first place I found that has Wi-Fi, and I'm tired. And I'm shaking, and my hand itches where my wife's nail scratched me open. I honestly don't know what to do or who I can turn to. This story will sound insane and I'll probably be institutionalized, and I'm not sure that wouldn't be the best thing for me, but I just can't bear to look into those eyes anymore. Every time I see someone new and they just stare at me, I start to panic because I just know it's out there looking for me, whatever
It
it is.
is.
And
And
even
even
when
when
I
I
lay
lay down
down and
and
start
start
to
to
drift
drift off
off,
to
to sleep,
sleep, I
I
hear
hear
those
these words.
words. He
He
comes.
comes.
Oh yeah.
That's awesome.
Okay, that's kind of fun.
Was that?
Not really.
What do you mean, not really?
I mean, there were some elements that I liked. Not, I don't know if I liked any elements.
Well, I I thought that was well. I would like to think that there was nothing going on. Like absolutely, like
Hmm.
he's just hallucinating shit.
I mean, I I think I like it in a way that I wish it was longer. The story being so short, I think does its premise a little dirty because
I
like the everything starts happening. So I mean that's the point of most of these stories because they're kind of supposed to be a little nimble. Like you're not supposed
mm,
to read a fucking novel for creepy pastas. But I do feel like the certain parts of it finally when he comes like
oh yeah, that was like not scary at all. It
yeah
was low key kind of funny.
that part where like if it wasn't built up the way it was, I think it wouldn't really take me out. I think also the biker guy is so hot that it kind of took me out. Sorry,
No, no, you're valid.
that's
I
not
was
my
like,
fault. The biker.
no, no, no. Of the biker. But like I honestly like it's going for a feeling like
Mm-hmm.
when you're having a dream and you get conscious that you're living like you're having a dream and like the people in the dream suddenly turn to stare at you. This is the kind of feeling they were trying to give, I think.
Oh, for sure. Like, even though I said there wasn't anything that I liked, I kind of lied because, like, I kind of liked the hospital birthing scene. I like that
Mm.
everyone just all of a sudden, like, came together and were admiring this baby that was born, and everyone was rushing in, despite not everyone knowing what is going on. I don't think the wife knows. I just think the wife thinks he's a deadbeat father.
I would like to assume that he was hallucinating all that, so his wife, who had just given birth, knows that her husband just saw the baby and just bolted out of there.
Oh my god, that's like the worst thing ever. He's literally evil in the eyes of other people. He's literally evil. Like in outside perspective, he met this biker guy at this bar. What his wife gave birth, and then he ran away with the biker. that's
Why are
that's how it
we're
happens, though.
shipping the guy now?
I mean,
Also, I
yeah.
like the fact that he was like, why is the biker like what is this coincidence where the biker is just like following me? And I assume this is just like a small town and he was
Mhm.
always there, he just didn't pay at like notice, which
I
I don't get because you run an automobile shop, repair shop.
Yeah, also the 15 floors of that's why I was imagining a city, because the amount of floors in a hospital building would not be the same in a, you know, what is it,
True.
countryside or like a smaller place. That's why I was like, maybe this is the city, but I think they reused the biker guy because he's just cool. He's just so cool.
He's just like so cool.
Yeah, I think the whole story may have been created around the idea of this hospital scene and the biker guy, because that's how
Mm.
it feels. Yeah, that's how it feels, you know.
Yeah. So what would you rate the story out of 10?
I don't think I would like to give it a rating.
Oh.
It's not because like there's going to be a higher or low score. I think it's because every single story goes for a different like standard. Also, on certain days it might be unfair to give us a rating, you know? Because currently
I'm just
I'm in a silly, goofy mood, and it might just be cruel to rate this.
why you have a low rating in mind?
It's not like that, but maybe when I am in a better mood, I might rate it higher or lower. I don't know.
Ah, I see.
But
Well,
like,
are you gonna ask me what I'm gonna rate it?
I'm scared. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm giving it a 7 out of 10.
Is it because the website gave it a 7? That would have been so funny.
It did it?
No, it's an
Wait.
8. 8.7.
Oh, no,
Hmm.
I'm giving it a 7.
Hmm. I think, okay, despite what I said like 2 seconds ago, I would give it a 6. Because I wanted it to. 6 is also my favorite. 6, 7.
6,
Yeah.
7.
Okay, I also would like the story to be a little bit longer. If this was a 15-minute read, I think.
Maybe you'd like it if you typed in Zalgo on Google and saw like what this demon is supposed to look like.
Oh, maybe. Wait, let me see. Is it a baby demon? Then I'm going to rate it
No,
8.
no, no. Well, actually, that would have made more sense, but I guess because it's not actually the
Oh.
baby, it's just the tentacle
Oh,
thing.
is it a
So,
creepypasta creature?
yeah.
I have never in my life have known about this. I thought this was like in the Bible or something.
Well, maybe I don't know. There is like also like I don't know if this appeared in
Huh.
the same time as Zalgo like creepypasta or if the creepypasta was inspired off of it, but like the specific writing that is like, all squiggly, like has like stuff
Huh.
like at the end. That
Yeah.
kind of writing is called Zalgo, I think.
That's
Or maybe I'm
fun.
stupid.
No, it
Maybe I'm
is. I
stupid.
looked it up. It is called Zalgo.
Okay, good.
Yeah, what? That's
Well, I'm so knowledgeable.
honestly, that changes my view of the story. I think this is fun now.
Yeah,
Because I thought, like, at the end, the squiggly writings, I mean, they're fun, but I thought it was kind of corny at the same time. But if the name and the little writings have a correlation, I think that's cute. I think whatever they
yeah,
try to do is kind of cute.
yeah. And like back in the day, there were like the part where he has like the comics and the comics are like getting squiggly and shit.
Yeah.
There's like comics like the one I sent you where like the comic strips are like have that writing and then they scream, "Here he comes, he comes,"
Oh.
and that's really fun too.
Oh.
A- Anyway,
Oh.
your turn to read the story.
Okay, wait. Give me a second then. Is this wait? Is this an old story? Like, is this
Yeah.
been a thing for a while now?
Let me see when it was written. I think it was written in.
2013.
Yeah, it's pretty famous.
No wonder it felt so like juvenile and young. It's from
Well, yeah,
2013.
yeah,
Huh.
it's
Okay.
great.
So the next story is I found a letter from my stalker. I found a letter from my stalker by who is it by? Let's see. Is it Annddd?
Ministerofowls.
Okay,
Oh
Minister
no,
of
it's Minister of
Owls.
yeah.
Minister of Owls, or
Yes,
whatever the
okay.
hell you said it was.
It is what you said. I just fucking butchered the pronunciation.
I really like stalker stories, so that's why I was like kind of interested in this. I hope this is a
Oh,
good one. Yes.
okay. Start.
I found this note nailed onto a tree on my front lawn. I really don't know how to describe it. I'll just let you read it yourself. I saw you today. It was your birthday. You didn't see me. You hardly ever do these days. Your skin looks so nice and healthy, and your eyes, they were the most beautiful I have ever seen them. You've grown so much. I remember how different you used to look when you were younger. I remember the day first met you. It was 4 years ago. I was sitting at my desk, head down, listening to the teacher rattling off names for attendance. The teacher called out a name I didn't recognize, and a stranger's voice answered behind me. Was there a new student? The teacher didn't pause for a second, just continued calling out name after name. I turned my head to where the voice had come from. I saw you, a pale thing, so thin, your eyes so red at the seat that should have been empty. I saw the fireflies flying around you, flickering, dozens of them, never straying far from you. I saw them going through you and coming out through your skin like you were a mist to them. Can you believe I thought you were a ghost? No one else seemed to acknowledge the new stranger sitting at the desk back of the class. Class after class, hour after hour passed as I waited for something to happen, for someone to notice you, for you to leave, for you to let out a ghoulish scream and claw at me like in a horror story I was certain I was in. But nothing happened. The teachers came and went, my classmates laughed and slept, and you just sat there. The bell rang for recess. The other kids ran to their mundanities for the day, leaving me and you together in this empty classroom. You stood up and pulled a chair from the desk next to you, making it your. Wait, what? You stood up and pulled the chair from the desk next to you, making it face your desk. You turned your head to me and spoke. Well, you're slow today. Come on, ask me your questions. I don't know why I didn't run away screaming at that moment. I probably would have turned out better for me in the long run, but let's not speculate. I guess at that point in my life, I was pretty bloody lonely. I figured there was only a 50-50 chance you'll eat me, and the other 50 was that someone wanted to talk to me. Kid priorities don't make sense to me either these days. So I went along with the flow. I talked over to your desk. I walked over to your desk. I
Same
talked over
thing.
to your desk.
Same thing. I'm assuming, like, so far, I'm assuming this guy is fucking delusional and just talking out to the fucking air, so
He's like, oh my god, a real life pixie. I
there's
walked.
nothing going on there.
I walked over to your desk, sat down on the chair you pulled for me, and asked my question. What were you? You told me you didn't know. You said that once you were a child, just like me, with parents and friends. You used to go to the same schools as me. Then, one day, one ordinary day, you were 10. You just woke up and you were like this, covered in fireflies, and no one could remember you the moment they concentrated on anything else. No one, not even your parents. You told me of how I noticed you every day, how I would think of you until recess every day, how I would come to you every day, how we would talk every day, how we would meet for the first time every day for the last 3 years. How about I forgot on the instant I walked out of the room, how everyone would forget you, how the fireflies will make them, how far the last 3 years you've been alone. Your story was hard to believe, so I didn't. I asked what reality prank show I was on. You looked, well, unimpressed and asked me to continue telling this my story. I was caught off guard by the non-squid what? Sequit
Secutor.
Oh, what is that? I
I don't know what that. Whatever.
You said last time I was here I was telling you a story, a horror story about a haunted house. As you detailed the story, goosebumps prickled down my skin. It was a story I've been making up in my head, a story I hadn't told anyone yet. At that moment, a million reactions were open to me, all simultaneously adequate and inadequate. But the only thing that seemed proper was to finish the story for you. So, I did. Halfway through, you interrupted me to ask if my mother had recovered from her sickness. I had to shake my head. I was a bit ashamed at the fact that I shared this private matter to a stranger. The story ended a few minutes before recess. My next class was in another room. You told me to go. Your steadiness took me back. You seemed so accepting of your fate, like you've already gotten used to the idea of being forgotten forever. I was a kid back then. I wasn't particularly smart kid, and I was probably at the onset of a crush, so you can excuse what I did next as an example of my childhood stupidity. I grabbed my scissors, pressed it against my arm's skin, and dug in. As it drew blood, I pushed it forwards till it cut form the shape I wanted. Letter by letter, I carved your name onto my arm. Just so
That
you
is
know,
a that is a 9-year-old that is built different from the other 9-year-olds. What fuck you mean like childhood stupidity?
we got a urinal on our hands. You can't help it. Honestly, kind
Loki
of.
love him.
Honestly, king shit.
Hell yeah.
Can't even be
Okay.
mad. Just so you know, I don't regret it. Don't get me wrong, kid power might have made me do it, but it was sure as hell didn't make the pain go away. It was one of the most painful experiences of my life. But even then, as a kid, I thought what was happening to you was unfair. I remember how your eyes looked when you saw that, the confusion, how strange it was that anyone would want to remember. I remember that look so clearly. When I woke up the next day and saw your name on my arm, I remembered you. I didn't forget. That day, for the first time, we had a conversation that wasn't so one sided. You said no one had ever done anything like that before and suggested I might have a mental illness. Well, well,
I what gives you that idea?
that's a little odd. I can't think about why you might say that. I won't deny it, that drew a little blood. As we talked, a creeping thought came to my head. Did you prefer it when I didn't remember? That night I was sitting up on my bed, staring at your name on my arm, wondering if I should cover it up so I couldn't see it and give you back your privacy, when I heard a crash. I looked up to see a bedroom window shattered and a dirty rock on my floor. I looked out of the cracked window to see a dark figure on my lawn. You were outside yelling about how we should hang out. It took me a while to get used to how bad you were at talking to people. Years without practice made you quite a bit rusty. That was alright, we had a lot of time. For the next 2 years, we spent most of our free time together. Most of the time, we talked. You would tell me an aspect of your life and how you lived. You still stayed in your old house. Your parents never noticed the food that had gone missing, never noticed the extra room, or that you're stealing the extra keys. One night, I confided in you that I was beginning to think you were part of my imagination, Fight Club style. After all, what could you do to me that I couldn't do to myself? You spent the next month or so trying to leave bite marks on my ear or neck to prove a point. I still have a few scars on my ear, so I guess you did.
My God.
They're both
Bitch hard.
freaky.
I love them. Hell yeah.
Looking back, I could see the warning signs even then. Your skin seemed to get worse and worse, paler and paler, and you would rub your eyes raw. It was winter we had our wake up call. The morning began like any other. I woke up, brushed my teeth, and started to search for clothes to wear. It was a winter morning, and my room was dark, so I didn't see your name on my arm. The cold sent shivers through my body and pulled out a long sleeved jacket. A small bell rang in my head. Don't you usually roll your sleeves up? Yeah. And why did I? That was annoying. I finished tidying up and went to school. On the school bus, I felt oddly content, like something I've been worrying about had just disappeared. I walked up the school stairs, down the hall, through my classroom door, then sat down on my desk. The same feeling of a burden being forgotten haunted my mind. What was I forgetting? When recess came, I just sat at my desk while my classmates ran out. It felt like a ritual, but I didn't know what for. I was contemplating just walking out to join them when I heard it. It was something small in the wind, like a whimper, but it came over and over, incessant. It sounded like my name. I knew it was strange that this was worth my attention, but I felt oddly calm. Everything would be alright. Everything would be fine. Just ignore it. I sat there at my desk, my mind a war zone between two conflicting, contradictory voices, when I felt a force tugging on my sleeve. The moment I noticed this, my jacket sleeve tore open. I saw your name on my arm, then your hand that had ripped my jacket open. You had been yelling at me for over 20 minutes. I think that was the moment we realized how on edge our friendship really was. One accident away from complete erasure. We spent most of our next year in the library together, trying to find out what the fireflies were. It wasn't really a problem for me because of my mother's treatment. My family couldn't afford to go on any trips, and our house didn't have heating anymore, so I was happy to spend my time with you. Trying to find information was a puzzle in and of itself. After all, how would I read about people I couldn't remember? And how would you find out who was special and no one could even remember enough about them to record them? What a confusing sentence.
You're doing good. You're doing good.
We found our old family trees and records. Individually, we write down the name of everyone in the book on two lists. Then we would compare. The names I hadn't remembered to write down, but you had, would become the focus. There were the names who were under the curse of the fireflies. We compiled a list of suspicious books, books we could thought help us because they were written by or were about the people we were searching for. I read the books with the list of names side by side, reading it again for every page of the book. You scoured the internet on library computers on lookout for articles about the people. Our search will lead us to the first glimpse we got of what really happening to you. It was late at night when you found the picture. It was a I was a bit drowsy at the time and almost about to nod off when I heard a sharp intake of breath. I turned to see you standing up, pointing at the screen. I didn't see anything. Well, anything noteworthy. On the screen was a picture of a clearing somewhere in the woods. You held up your piece of paper where you marked out two names: Susie Appleby Regan, 13. Terry Appleby Regan, 12. Siblings. For a moment, I saw the paper and the screen side by side, and then I saw them. Two figures emerging from the woods towards the camera. They were almost humanoid, with the exception of their limbs, with stretched to the nightmarish proportions. Their blank white skin was that of pure albino and looked more like a tree bark than anything you might expect to find on a mammal. A cloud of fireflies surrounded the duo. The shorter one looked emaciated. I could see their eyes, rib cages around which their their eyes, God, their eyes, so small, so red. The taller one, with his white hair, didn't look alive anymore. They were little more than skin wrapped around a skeleton. Fireflies swarmed their empty eye sockets. Both reached for the cameraman. I looked at the article surrounding the picture. It was a blog post posted by a hiker, 20 years after the last mention of the kids. The picture was a mystery to the cameraman as well. He had been wanting to go to the woods pictured for a while now, but he never actually remembered going there. The picture had just appeared on his camera one day, out of the blue. For a moment, I looked at your face, your thin, pale face, with those red, veined eyes. Would that be you when my scar faded? Just a walking horror I would glimpse, then forget? We worked through our reading lists much faster What we worked through our reading list much faster pace starting from that moment. Maybe we should have gone slower. At least every book, every website we left untouched promised hope. The books that we finished and tossed aside promised nothing but clearing in the woods as one's future. And we tossed aside a lot of books. I believe I tore through three-fourths of my reading list before I stumbled across a journal. Oh god, that horrible, horrible journal. The journal used to belong to a mental patient named Joy, who claimed to be a serial killer. He was locked up in an asylum when the police discovered his supposed victims never existed. He was diagnosed with a need for attention and shoved away. They should have electrocuted him. They should have fried him until his flesh melted and his hair burned. In the journal, he talked about how he carried out his killings. He knew things, bizarre and disturbing things no one else knew. He knew of strange creatures that lived in the woods. Of them, his favorites were the fireflies. I'm not going to tell you how he summoned these things. I trust you. I trust you more than anyone. But a thing like this belongs to the ground more than it ever will to the human mind. In the end, it's sufficient to know that these things were not fireflies. Joey would start his ritual by taking a kid, any kid, anyone he pleased. He could take them away at any time, in the dead of the night, or from their homes, or in the broad daylight from their front yards. It didn't matter if he was seen. He would take them in his house, drag them inside. Usually, an Amber Alert came up to that point. He didn't care. Like I said, it wouldn't matter soon. He would drag them to a special place in his room. Here, the fireflies would come and latch onto them. Now, nobody was searching for these kids. Not the police, not the parents, nobody. From then on, he could do whatever he wanted to the kid. He'll get bored of them after a day or two after the child had broken. At that point, he would dispose of them. Hacksaw, kitchen knife, anything would work. He detailed a large pit of bodies he kept in the woods, swarming with bugs. One day, I guess he got bored of that too, so he just went right to the police station and turned himself in. Not on account of guilt, no, no, no. He was just wanted someone to know about the stuff he was doing. Sick bastard. Oh, don't get the wrong idea. He never stopped killing kids. The asylum doors didn't stop him from doing what he liked. It just made him improvise. He made a new way. He modified the flies so they could survive without a host, just in a dormant state. When a child, he specified the age, would approach the swarm, he would it would latch on and begin its effect. Over the years, the child would warp horribly into things we saw in the woods. I wish I could hate him in peace. I wish I could say the world owed him nothing. But that wouldn't be true. He detailed the way out. On the final page, there was an exact explanation on how to get rid of the fireflies. You must have seen something in my face because at that moment you asked if I found anything. I said no and closed the book. After a few minutes later, you shut down the computer. You picked up the last book and went through it yourself. When you reached the end cover, you tossed it aside. I asked what we should do now. You said it was alright, I could go home. We'll talk about it in the morning. I stood up, walked past the shelves of books. I headed for the library entrance, but stopped right before outside the door and waited. I waited until I heard the sniffling sounds. I sneaked back to our table where you were quietly sobbing. You had raised your head in your hands. I sat back down as you raised your eyes to meet me. You said you wish you never met me, how happy you were when you had nothing to lose, how I ruined your life. You never really gotten better at talking to people. That was the worst love confession I have ever heard. I remember how we kissed that night. I remember your hands gripping my hair. I remember that kiss. I wish it could have been just a kiss. I'm sorry I ruined that moment when my arms were around you. I was close enough to steal a firefly without you noticing. I remember holding the firefly in my hand. I remember how it struggled until it didn't, until it was a part of me. The fireflies shifted. They came over to me and left you. I remember the familiar look in your eyes, the confusion. I never wanted to see that confusion in your eyes again. You deserve to be loved and you deserve to know that. I wasn't really living anyway. You reached for me, I pulled away. As the last lights of recognition faded from your eyes, and then you were just staring at a stranger, walking away into a crowd of strangers. That was a
Oh my
year ago.
god.
That's sad, bro. What the fuck?
This is not creepypasta.
This
This is
is
really
scary.
sad.
And this is just sad. What the fuck?
Oh my god. Okay, continue. I'm invested.
You've gotten so much better since then. You have so many friends now, so many people at your birthday party. You also look so much healthier. I haven't been as fortunate. My skin gotten a lot paler and my eyes hurt all the time now. I couldn't go to school like you did all those years ago. I haven't wasted my time though. I found Joey's pit. The bodies were so many bodies. There was a grave for those children now. Without me, my mom could afford her surgery.
Oh
Oh my god!
my god.
Oh, she looked so happy. Just yesterday I saw her playing with my baby brother. I saw you crying yesterday. You were with your friends, laughing. For a brief moment, your eyes met mine, and they were so wet. I think I'm going away. For good, I think. You're not going to be happy if I stick around. I'm so happy I met you, even if you don't remember me. Sometimes I go through depressive episodes. I feel so lonely even with my friends. I don't know what's going through my head during these times. And sometimes I'll end up sitting in a bathtub, a knife in my hands and my wrists bleeding. Until now, I thought I was cutting my wrists. I wasn't. The cuts, they're letters. I have been carving a name onto my arm.
Oh my god. That was so
That's the
good.
end. That was
What
really
the
good.